I think Dr. Manish also alluded to this in one of our podcasts, is the idea that because the current EMR is so expensive to implement and so labor intensive, that the next wave, due to the fire standard, is going to be overlays. Like, if you will, a browser that connects to your EMR system that actually has this functionality. And there's some companies that are already doing these, like a Bridge or DeepScribe, where they use natural language processing and AI to filter the conversation and put in the right filters. What do you think that's the future, Juan?
I don't know if it's the future. I do think there's hope there, right? We touched a little bit on this, which was a lot of these systems are heavily entrenched and they're very expensive, right? And George, you mentioned ripping them out is like not a thing, right? That you're not going to be able to do that or fundamentally re-architect them. So if that's the constraint, you can't fundamentally re-architect them. It's too expensive and you can't rip them out of the system that you spent $100 million implementing. What's another option? Well, another option is potentially an overlay option that is in essence either an overlay for better or a better user experience for the end user, in this case, maybe a physician, where at the end of the day is if the EHR just becomes in essence a database of clinical terminology or clinical findings, and I have an overlay that's sitting on top of it that allows me to do my work, that could be really interesting. Companies like a Bridge, and you mentioned, DeepScribe are doing something similar to that. They're applying NLP, but there may be other opportunities for these overlays to, like I said, help on the UX side or help on the data visualization side for end users, right? What is my risk stratification score? What's my risk score for this particular patient, right? What are all the comorbidities that are occurring for this particular patient? What are the HEDIS measures for this particular patient, right? How do I understand what's happening? And maybe there's a little bit of a swivel chair approach, right? Or it's an overlay that's sitting on top of my EHR that is either browser based or not, right? So I think it's an interesting thing for us to continue to watch, but I do think if thinking of the constraint that exists, as we mentioned, if that we do believe that those are constraints, this may be a way to kind of overcome some of those challenges.